All right, let's talk about something that's totally fundamental to Korean culture, but it's kind of hidden in plain sight. We're talking about a simple bowl of rice. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a meal, right? Well, as we're about to see, it's also a language, it's history, and it's a whole universe of emotion packed into one bowl.
And it all kicks off with a question that might sound a little strange if you're not used to it. In Korea, one of the most common greetings isn't "How are you?" It's "Bap mogeseo," which literally means "Have you eaten rice?" If you say yes, the person asking can basically assume that you're doing okay, body and soul. So how did a simple meal become the ultimate measure of a person's well-being?
Well, to really get to the bottom of that, we have to start with the absolute heart of the Korean table historically and culturally: rice. For centuries, pretty much everything revolved around it.
It all comes down to this core cultural belief, and it's captured in this one incredible word, bapsum. It translates to rice power, but it's so much deeper than that. It's this conviction, that real strength, that essential energy you need for life, doesn't just come from any old food. It comes specifically from eating a proper meal with rice. And you can actually see this belief in action through a tradition called godeungeo. Just look at that. The rice is literally piled up like a mountain, overflowing the bowl. And this wasn't about someone having a huge appetite. No, a taller mound of rice was a direct signal of respect and generosity. It was how a host would say, "I value you and I wish you strength."
Now this is where it gets really wild. This timeline of the rice bowl itself tells the story of Korea's massive transformation. Back in the Three Kingdoms era, an agrarian society, a single portion was an insane 1,300 grams. That's what you needed to fuel that hard physical labor. But over the centuries, it just kept shrinking, and today, it's around 200 grams. This isn't just about diets changing. It's a mirror reflecting the country's entire journey from a nation of farmers to a modern industrial powerhouse. But, the meaning of rice goes way beyond just physical energy. It carries this deep, deep emotional weight. And you can see this so clearly in Korean literature, where something as simple as its temperature can mean the difference between love and total despair. Think about it like this. A bowl of warm, steaming, freshly cooked rice, that's a mother's care. It's coming home, it's comfort, it's healing. But chanbap, cold rice, is the exact opposite. It's a really powerful metaphor for loneliness, for being neglected, for feeling like an outcast. There's even an expression, chanbap sensei, which basically means you're being ignored or treated badly.
And this quote just captures the healing power of warm rice so perfectly. It's from a novel about a daughter who's been estranged from her mother for years. She finally comes home, and as her mother cooks for her, that smell of the rice, that mix of steam and smoke and earth, it becomes this moment of profound release. It's the thing that finally lets her let go of a lifetime of pain.
Now, for the complete opposite, the poet Moon Jung-hee uses cold rice to describe this devastating emptiness after her mother passes away. She deliberately eats the rice cold, without reheating it, because that's what her mother used to do, always serving the family warm food first and eating the leftovers herself. So in that act, the speaker feels close to her lost mother, but she also fully takes on that feeling of abandonment, saying, "Today, I have become the cold rice of the world." Just gut-wrenching.
Okay, so we've seen how personal this is. Now let's zoom out and see how that meaning builds into something communal. We've seen how rice can speak to one person, but it also has this incredible power to bring an entire community together, often in one big, steaming bowl.
And the hero of this story is a dish called gukbap, a simple, hearty soup with rice served right in it. It's sometimes called the aesthetics of mixing. It was born in these chaotic, bustling markets for people on the go, travelers, workers, who just needed something fast, cheap, and really, really nourishing.
And its home, the market, is absolutely key here. Because in all that beautiful chaos of the marketplace, gukbap is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter if you're a farmer covered in dirt, a local merchant, or a tourist. Everybody sits down to the exact same humble, steaming bowl.
This quote just paints the picture perfectly. In a noisy pork gukbap spot, you've got people from every walk of life crammed together. Local workers right next to wealthy folks who drove in from the city. And they're seasoning their soup not just with spices, but with curses and hearty laughter. They all become part of this same loud, messy, vibrant community.
So what's really happening here? It's so much more than just grabbing a quick lunch. Sharing a bowl of gukbap is about absorbing the energy of everyone around you. It's a meal that gives you physical strength when you're tired, sure, but it also offers this powerful sense of belonging to anyone who might feel like they're on the outside looking in.
All right, we're going to shift gears now. From the everyday hustle and bustle, we're moving to something much more profound. The role of food in Korean culture finds its deepest, most powerful expression right at the intersection of life and death, where a meal literally becomes a bridge between worlds.
Now, this might sound a little strange, focusing on food during a time of such intense grief. But the meal served at a Korean funeral, which is usually a spicy beef soup called gukajang, plays an absolutely critical role. Yes, it's meant to nourish and comfort the living, but it also serves as this final, profound connection to the person who has passed.
And there's this poem by Lee Jae-moo, and it starts with a line that just stops you in your tracks. It's a shameful thing to say, but the gukbap at a funeral always tastes the best. It perfectly captures that complex, almost guilty feeling that can come up during grief. In the middle of all the sorrow, there's still life, there's hunger, and there's this shared meal that, somehow, against all logic, tastes profoundly good.
But then, the poet gives us this incredible shift in perspective. They reframe the whole meal. It's as if they can imagine the person they lost looking on, not with sadness, but with generosity. The food becomes their final gift, their last act of hospitality, that basically says, I'm gone, but you have to live on, so please eat, find your strength, and be well.
And that's the magic of it, right? By sharing this meal together, the community isn't ignoring death. They're facing it head-on, and in the very act of eating, they collectively reaffirm their own lives. It's a ritual of sorrow, for sure, but it's also a ritual of resilience. It provides the comfort and the strength everyone needs to carry on.
So, let's pull all these threads together. From a simple hello to a final goodbye, we've seen how food in Korea is just woven into the absolute fabric of life. I mean, we started with just a simple bowl of rice, and we found out it can contain an entire universe of meaning. It's a way to ask, how are you? It's a measure of respect. It's the feeling of a mother's love or the sharp sting of loneliness. It can build a community. It can comfort you in your grief, and it can even be a final generous gift.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. This idea of food being a language for love and community and memory, that's not unique to Korea. Every single culture has its own bapsim, or its own gukbap. So the real thing to take away from all this is a new question to ask yourself. What food in your life is more than just food? What dish, for you, contains a universe?